The dimly lit bar in downtown Atlanta pulsed with an energy that only live music could conjure. Jamal Carter, a talented black musician, stood center stage with his guitar slung over his shoulder, his heart racing with anticipation. The rustic wooden beams of the ceiling seemed to absorb the crowd's murmurs as he took a deep breath, feeling the warmth of the spotlight wash over him. He strummed the first chord, and the room fell silent, captivated by the rich, soulful timbre of his voice. As he sang, each note seemed to weave stories of heartache and hope, resonating with the diverse audience that had gathered. A young couple swayed gently, lost in the rhythm, while a group of friends cheered him on, their voices rising above the music. Jamal poured his soul into the performance, his lyrics a reflection of his own struggles and dreams. The passion in his voice filled the bar, wrapping around the audience like a warm embrace. After the final chord faded, the crowd erupted into applause, a wave of appreciation that made Jamal's heart swell with pride. He took a moment to soak it all in, the smiles of strangers lighting up the dim space. As he stepped off the stage, a familiar face appeared in the crowd, a talent scout from a major record label, dressed sharply in a tailored suit. The scout approached Jamal with an air of confidence, a glimmer of interest in his eyes. "Hey man, that was some serious talent up there," the scout said, extending his hand for a shake. "I'm Marcus. I work with Rising Star Records." Jamal felt a flicker of hope ignite within him. "Thanks, Marcus. I've been working hard on my music." Marcus nodded, his expression shifting to one of business. "I can see that. We're always on the lookout for fresh, new talent. But, it's a tough market out there. We need artists who can really connect with a mainstream audience." Jamal's heart sank slightly at the underlying implication, but he maintained his composure. "I believe my music has a unique voice. It's authentic, and it represents experiences that many people can relate to." "Absolutely, I get that," Marcus replied, his tone diplomatic yet firm. "But let's be real here. You're great, but we're looking for something that's a bit more marketable. It's a business, after all. We need to sell records." And he hesitated, choosing his words carefully. "We're not sure how your style will fit into our brand right now." The dismissal hung heavily in the air, a bitter reminder of the walls that often restricted artists like him. Jamal forced a smile, trying to mask the disappointment that threatened to surface. "I appreciate your honesty, Marcus. I just want to share my music." "Of course, and I respect that. Keep doing what you're doing, and who knows? The industry is always changing." With that, Marcus turned and walked away, leaving Jamal standing at the edge of the stage, the excitement of the performance quickly fading into frustration. Later that night, Jamal met his best friend Lena at a nearby cafe. The vibrant chatter of patrons surrounded them, but Jamal felt isolated in his thoughts. As he stirred his coffee, Lena's eyes sparkled with concern. "What happened with that scout?" she asked, leaning in closer. Jamal sighed, running a hand through his hair. "He liked my music, but said I wasn't marketable enough. I swear, it's always about fitting into some mold. Ugh, that's so frustrating. It's like they can't see the talent for what it is. They only see the color of your skin and the stereotypes that come with it," Lena replied, her voice tinged with anger. "Exactly. It's like they want me to be someone I'm not. I just want to make music that speaks to people," Jamal expressed, his voice rising with each word. "But it feels like every step I take is met with a closed door." "Don't let them get you down, Jamal. You have something special. You should think about producing your own album, something that showcases your true artistry. You can do this independently." "I don't know, Lena. It's a big risk. What if it doesn't work out?" he countered, doubt creeping into his mind. "Look, you can't let fear dictate your passion. You owe it to yourself to try. Your voice deserves to be heard," Lena encouraged, her tone unwavering. As they spoke, Jamal felt the weight of her words settle within him, igniting a flicker of determination. But just as hope began to blossom, his phone buzzed on the table. He picked it up and saw an email notification from Rising Star Records. His heart raced as he opened it, only to find the familiar sting of rejection. "Dear Jamal Carter," he read aloud, his voice cracking. "We appreciate your submission, but after careful consideration, We regret to inform you that we will not be moving forward with your project. We wish you the best of luck in your future endeavors." Anger and disappointment washed over him like a tidal wave. "They just don't get it," he muttered, gripping the phone tightly. "I will prove them wrong. I'm going to record my own album, and I'll show them what real talent looks like." Lena smiled, pride evident in her eyes. "That's the spirit. Let's make it happen." In that moment, surrounded by the noise of the cafe and the warmth of Lena's support, Jamal felt a renewed sense of purpose. The road ahead was uncertain, but he was ready to carve out his own path, one note at a time. Jamal Carter sat at a rustic wooden table in a small rehearsal space, the walls adorned with posters of legendary musicians. Around him, a diverse group of local artists gathered, each bringing their own unique flair and stories. The room buzzed with anticipation as they prepared to collaborate on the independent album that Jamal hoped would redefine his future. "All right, everyone," Jamal began, his voice steady but infused with excitement. "We're here to create something real, something that speaks to our experiences. Let's brainstorm. What do you want to say?" A tall woman with vibrant red hair and an electric guitar spoke up first. "I want to write about heartbreak, but not just the typical stuff. I want to explore how it feels to lose someone not just romantically, but also culturally. How we feel like we're losing parts of ourselves every day." Jamal nodded, intrigued. "That's powerful. It resonates with so many of us. What do you think, Sam?" He turned to a quiet man with a deep voice sitting in the corner, tapping his fingers on his lap. Sam looked up, his brow furrowed in thought. "I think we should also touch on the struggle of being heard in a world that often tries to silence us. There's a weight to our stories that the mainstream often overlooks." "Exactly." Lena, Jamal's best friend and confidant, chimed in, her enthusiasm palpable. "We can weave in our personal experiences, our histories. It'll make the music authentic and relatable. People need to feel that connection." As they continued to share their ideas, each artist contributed fragments of their lives, weaving a tapestry of struggles and triumphs. Laughter erupted as they exchanged stories, and the room transformed into a sanctuary of creativity and camaraderie. Jamal felt a surge of inspiration, recognizing that this collaboration was more than just about music. It was about unity and resilience. "We could even incorporate some spoken word into the tracks," suggested Maya, a poet whose words flowed like water. "Interlacing poetry with music can bring a rawness that connects deeply." "Let's do it," Jamal exclaimed, his heart racing. "We'll make it a fusion of genres, R&B, jazz, hip-hop, and spoken word. It'll be a celebration of our roots and our identity." As the brainstorming session continued, they crafted a rough outline of their album, which they decided to title Voices Unheard. Each song would be a chapter, showcasing their collective experiences and emotions. The excitement of the project consumed Jamal, and the following weeks turned into a whirlwind of creativity. In the recording studio, laughter echoed off the walls as they worked tirelessly, pouring their hearts into every note. Jamal's passion illuminated the room, and he felt a renewed sense of purpose. "All right, let's take it from the top," he announced one afternoon, adjusting the mic stand. "This track is about empowerment. I want you all to feel the energy. Let's make it a celebration." As the music swelled, Jamal closed his eyes, allowing the rhythm to take him. The sound was electric, a chorus of voices blending into a single, powerful entity. He opened his eyes to see his friends lost in the music, their faces lit with joy. "Can we take a quick break?" Sam asked, wiping the sweat from his brow, a tired smile on his face. "This is intense, but in a good way." "Absolutely, let's grab some water," Jamal replied, feeling a sense of camaraderie that he had longed for in the industry. As they took a breather, Lena leaned in closer. "Jamal, I can see it in your eyes. You believe in this project," she said softly, her voice laced with encouragement. "You're channeling everything you've faced into this music. It's powerful." He nodded, the weight of her words sinking in. "I do believe. This is our chance to show the world who we are, to fight against the stereotypes and prove that our voices matter." As the recording sessions progressed, Jamal found himself more invigorated than ever. Each song became a testament to their shared struggles and victories. They poured their hearts into the project, capturing the essence of their experiences in every lyric and melody. Finally, after countless hours of hard work and dedication, the day came when Jamal looked around at his friends, a sense of pride swelling in his chest. "We did it, guys. The album is complete." Cheers erupted in the room, and they hugged one another, celebrating the bond they had forged. Jamal felt a surge of hope. The journey ahead was uncertain, but he was ready to share their voices with the world. With the album ready for release, Jamal turned to social media, sharing snippets of their work. He poured his heart into every post, inviting listeners to join him on this journey. The initial response was slow, but he held on to the hope that their music would resonate and spark a change. "Let's take this step by step," Lena reminded him one evening as they sat together, scrolling through comments. "Every great journey starts small. We'll get there." Jamal smiled, grateful for her unwavering support. "You're right. This is just the beginning." As he stared at the screen, he felt a fire reignite within him. He was determined to make his mark, no matter how long it took. As the weeks rolled by, Jamal Carter found himself immersed in a whirlwind of activity, his music slowly carving a niche in the bustling landscape of Atlanta's vibrant music scene. His songs, once cloaked in obscurity, began to resonate with listeners. The notifications on his phone became a source of exhilaration and inspiration, each message from fans reflecting their connection to his lyrics. "Man, your lyrics hit home. Struggles and dreams, that's my life." Read one message. Jamal smiled, feeling a warmth spread through him. He could almost hear the listener's voice, infused with the same passion that propelled him to write. He shared these messages with Lena, who stood by his side, her unwavering support a lifeline during the stormy sea of doubt that often threatened to engulf him. "Look at this one," Jamal said, his eyes sparkling. "This guy from down in Alabama said he played my song at his graduation. Can you believe that?" "That's incredible, Jamal. You're making waves," Lena replied, her enthusiasm infectious. She leaned over his laptop, scrolling through his social media. "You've got people talking, and they're loving what you're doing. This is just the beginning." With each passing day, Jamal's online following expanded. Fans started sharing his music across platforms, their support snowballing into an organic movement that caught the attention of a popular music blog. The article, titled "Jamal Carter, the Voice of Resilience," praised the authenticity of his work and the emotional depth that resonated with so many. "Did you read this?" Jamal exclaimed, pulling Lena over to his laptop, his heart racing. "They're saying my album is a breath of fresh air in a stale industry." Lena's eyes widened in excitement as she read through the praises. "This is huge. You're going to get more gigs now. People are going to want to see you live." And they did. Jamal's calendar began filling with performances, each one a chance to share his story and connect with fans. The local venues buzzed with energy, and Jamal thrived on the live feedback from the audience. He reveled in the moments when his songs brought tears to eyes or sparked joyous celebrations. However, amidst the success, shadows loomed. The whispers from the major record label he had once hoped to join began to swirl around him. Rumors started circulating, planted like seeds of doubt by those who felt threatened by his rising fame. One evening, as they sat on the balcony of Lena's apartment overlooking the city, Jamal's mood shifted. "Did you hear what they're saying? I can't believe this," he said, running a hand through his hair in frustration. "What do you mean?" Lena asked, concern etching her features. "I heard from a friend that the label is trying to discredit me. They're saying I'm nothing without their backing. That my success is just a fluke," he replied, his voice thick with anger. "That's ridiculous," Lena shot back. "You've worked hard for this. Don't let their negativity get to you. We just need to show everyone the truth." Jamal leaned back in his chair, contemplating her words. "But what if it works? What if people actually believe them?" Lena shook her head. "You have to rise above it. Focus on your music and the people who support you. Let's come up with a plan. We can use social media to counter their lies. Show them who you really are." "I guess I could share more about my journey, the struggles behind the music," Jamal mused, a flicker of determination igniting within him. If they want to play dirty, we'll shine a light on the truth. I won't let them take away what I've built. Exactly. Let's turn this into a movement. You're not just a musician. You're a voice for so many people who've faced similar challenges. Lena encouraged, her eyes bright with conviction. Jamal nodded, feeling a renewed sense of purpose. Okay, let's do it. I'm not backing down. They may have tried to undermine me, but I'm going to show them that my music and my story can't be silenced. As they sat together, plotting their next steps, the city of Atlanta sparkled under the night sky, a reflection of the hope and resilience that simmered within Jamal. He knew the road ahead would be fraught with challenges, but he was ready to confront them head-on, armed with his music and the unwavering support of those who believed in him. As Jamal Carter stood backstage at the bustling music festival, the weight of the moment pressed down on him. The air was thick with anticipation, the sound of the crowd pulsing like a heartbeat beyond the curtains. His album had climbed the charts, and this performance could be the breakthrough he had been dreaming of. He could feel the excitement thrumming in his veins. His heart raced as he adjusted the strings on his guitar, the instrument that had always been his voice when words failed him. "Jamal, you ready?" Lena's voice cut through his thoughts. She appeared beside him, her eyes sparkling with pride and encouragement. "This is your moment. Just remember why you started." He nodded, absorbing her words. Lena had been his rock through every setback, her unwavering support a balm for his bruised spirit. "I'm ready," he replied, though he felt the familiar pang of self-doubt creep in. He took a deep breath, focusing on the rhythm of his heartbeat instead of the crowd's roar. As he stepped onto the stage, the lights washed over him, blinding and exhilarating all at once. The crowd erupted into cheers, and he could hardly make out the faces of the fans in the sea of bodies. All he could hear were the chants of his name, "Jamal! Jamal!" echoing back at him, a symphony of hope and validation. "Thank you, Atlanta," he shouted into the mic, his voice steady despite the adrenaline coursing through him. "I'm here because of you. Let's make this a night to remember." The opening notes of his first song filled the air, each strum a reminder of the journey that had led him to this moment. He poured his heart into every lyric, each word a testament to his struggles and triumphs. The energy in the crowd was electric. He could feel the connection between him and the audience, a shared heartbeat resonating in the night. But as he played, a familiar face loomed at the edge of the stage. The talent scout who had initially rejected him stood there, a slick smile plastered across his face. Jamal's stomach twisted. He remembered the dismissal, the sharp sting of rejection that had pushed him to forge his own path. Now, the scout was trying to play the role of a friend, clapping along with the rhythm as if they were old allies. After his set, Jamal found himself backstage again, panting from the energy of the performance. The scout approached him, feigning casualness. "Hey, Jamal, great set out there. You really killed it. I knew you had it in you," he said, his voice smooth like honey. Jamal felt a wave of anger wash over him. "You didn't think so a few months ago," he shot back, crossing his arms defensively. "What changed?" The scout raised his hands in mock surrender, a disarming smile on his face. "Come on, man. You know how the industry works. I was just doing my job. But now you're a hot commodity." Jamal's eyes narrowed. "I didn't need a label to prove my worth. I did this on my own." He gestured around at the bustling activity behind the stage. The crew setting up for the next act, the musicians laughing and sharing in the camaraderie. "This is real. This is me." The scout's expression faltered for a moment, the bravado slipping. "Look, all I'm saying is, we could work together. You've got something special, and I can help you reach even more people." Jamal shook his head. "I'll think about it," he replied, the words tasting bitter on his tongue. He turned away, needing to distance himself from the man who represented everything he had fought against. As he stepped back into the crowd, the cheers still ringing in his ears, Jamal felt a surge of determination. He had made it this far without the industry's approval, and he didn't need it now. The connection he had forged with his fans, the stories he shared through his music, they were what mattered. When he finally returned to the stage to perform his final song, the crowd was electric. They were with him, every note resonating in their hearts. The lyrics spoke of resilience, of overcoming obstacles, and of the fight against the systemic racism that had sought to stifle his voice. As the last chord rang out, the crowd erupted into applause, the energy palpable. Jamal stood there, soaking it all in, a smile spreading across his face. He had found his place, not just in the music world, but in a community that embraced him for who he was. Yet, in the back of his mind, Jamal knew that the battle was far from over. The industry might have given him a moment, but he was acutely aware of the shadows lurking behind the spotlight. Even as he basked in the glow of success, he understood that the journey toward equality and acceptance in the music world was ongoing. Determined, he stepped off the stage, ready to continue the fight, not just for himself, but for all the artists who faced the same struggles he had. The sun was beginning to set over Atlanta, casting a warm, golden hue across the city as Jamal and Lena sat at a small table in a bustling cafe. The atmosphere was alive with the sound of clinking coffee cups and the soft murmur of conversations, but their focus was solely on the laptop screen in front of them. They were deep in the planning stages of a campaign that aimed to highlight the importance of diversity in the music industry, an endeavor that had been ignited by their shared experiences of discrimination and the frustration that had long simmered within Jamal. "Okay, so we need a catchy hashtag," Lena suggested, tapping her fingers rhythmically on the table. "Something that captures the essence of what we're fighting for." Jamal leaned back in his chair, his brow furrowed in thought. "What about Voices Unchained? It speaks to breaking free from the stereotypes and barriers that hold us back." Lena's eyes lit up. "I love it. It's powerful and speaks directly to artists like you who have been marginalized. We can use it across all social media platforms." As they brainstormed, they envisioned a campaign that would not only spotlight their own struggles, but also encourage other artists to share their journeys. It was a way to create a community of solidarity and empowerment. Jamal could feel the excitement building within him as he imagined the impact their message could have. "We should create a video," Jamal proposed. "We can share clips of our performances, intercut with stories from other artists. It'll show that we're not alone in this fight." "Absolutely," Lena replied, her voice filled with enthusiasm. "We can reach out to other musicians and invite them to participate. The more voices, the stronger the message." With their plan taking shape, they spent the next few hours drafting posts, scripting the video, and connecting with fellow artists. As the night deepened, Jamal felt a renewed sense of purpose. This was more than just a campaign. It was a movement. Days turned into weeks, and the campaign began to gain traction. Jamal received messages from artists across the country, sharing their own experiences with discrimination and expressing their support for the cause. Major musicians, whose names carried weight in the industry, started to amplify Jamal's voice. It felt like a wave of solidarity was building, and Jamal stood at the forefront, ready to ride it. One evening, after a long day of meetings and video shoots, Jamal and Lena sat in a dimly lit studio, reviewing the responses they had received. The atmosphere was charged with excitement as they watched the views on their video soar. "Look at this," Lena exclaimed, pointing at the screen. "This post just went viral. People are really resonating with our message." Jamal's heart swelled with pride and hope. "This is just the beginning," he said, a determined glint in his eye. "We're making a real difference." But as the campaign gained momentum, it also drew the ire of those who preferred to maintain the status quo. One particularly ominous evening, as Jamal was preparing for bed, a notification lit up his phone screen. A message from an unknown number flashed before him, sending a chill down his spine. "Back off, Carter. You're treading on dangerous ground. You don't want to find out what happens if you continue this fight." Jamal's hands trembled slightly as he read the words, a knot of fear tightening in his stomach. He knew the implications behind the message. Someone affiliated with the label was trying to intimidate him. Lena, who had just entered the room, noticed the pallor on Jamal's face. "Hey, what's wrong?" she asked, concern etched on her features. Jamal turned the phone toward her, his voice barely above a whisper. "I just got this message. They're warning me to back off." Lena's expression hardened. "They're scared of what we're doing, Jamal. This is exactly why we need to keep pushing forward. We can't let them silence us." He nodded, though uncertainty lingered in his mind. I know you're right, but it's hard to ignore the threat. What if they try to sabotage everything we've built? Lena placed a reassuring hand on his shoulder. We've come too far to let fear dictate our actions. We have a platform now, and we can't let them take that away. Remember why we started this. For every artist who has faced discrimination, we owe it to them to be brave. Jamal took a deep breath, the resolve in Lena's words beginning to sink in. You're right. I won't let them control me. We're in this together. With renewed determination, Jamal and Lena returned to their planning, their spirits unbroken. They would not back down. The fight for justice in the music industry had just begun, and Jamal was ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead, fueled by the voices of those who had once been silenced. The atmosphere at the awards show buzzed with excitement and anticipation, a kaleidoscope of lights reflecting off the sequin gowns and tailored suits that filled the grand hall. Jamal Carter could feel his heart pounding against his chest as he sat among the nominees for Best New Artist. His palms were clammy, and he wiped them on his trousers, glancing at Lena, who sat beside him, her face a mixture of pride and anxiety. Just remember, no matter what happens, you've already won, she whispered, squeezing his hand. Jamal nodded, but the weight of the label's threats loomed heavy in his mind like a dark cloud. The host's voice boomed through the speakers, and the award goes to... The crowd held its breath, a collective pause that seemed to stretch into eternity. Jamal's heart raced as the host continued, Jamal Carter. The room erupted in applause, but amidst the cheers, Jamal could see the unmistakable scowls from the representatives of the label, their anger palpable. As he walked to the stage, every step felt surreal. He took a deep breath, trying to calm his nerves, and reached for the microphone. Wow. Thank you so much, he began, his voice steady despite the whirlwind of emotions inside him. When I started this journey, I never imagined I'd be standing here tonight. This moment isn't just for me. It's for everyone who has ever felt marginalized or overlooked in this industry. The audience responded with cheers, and Jamal continued. I want to acknowledge the struggles that many artists face, especially those from marginalized communities. We are here, we are talented, and we will not be silenced. As he spoke, he noticed the representatives from the label exchange glances, their expressions a mix of disbelief and fury. There are systems in place that try to suppress our voices, that dictate who gets to be seen and heard. But I stand here to say, we will not be quiet any longer. We deserve our space in this industry, and we deserve to be celebrated for our artistry, not judged by the color of our skin. The applause grew louder, and Jamal could feel the energy of the crowd surging behind him. He felt a sense of empowerment wash over him, a realization that he was not alone in this fight. This award is a testament to resilience, to the community that has supported me, and to the power of music as a force for change, he concluded, stepping back from the microphone as the crowd erupted into a standing ovation. As he descended from the stage, Lena was there, her face beaming with joy. You were amazing, she exclaimed, enveloping him in a tight hug. You really spoke from the heart. Before Jamal could respond, a commotion broke out near the back of the hall. A figure emerged from the shadows, a man in a suit who seemed out of place among the glamour. He stepped forward, raising his hands to get everyone's attention. Excuse me, I have something to say. The crowd quieted, curiosity piqued. I'm a former employee of the label, the man announced, his voice trembling slightly but firm. And I can no longer stay silent. There's a conspiracy within the industry to suppress black artists, to keep them from rising to the top. I have evidence that shows their attempts to discredit Jamal and others like him. Gasps filled the room, and Jamal's heart raced again, but this time with hope. Whispers spread like wildfire, and the label's representatives turned white with shock. This is not just about Jamal. It's about all of us who have been marginalized, the man continued, his voice gaining strength. It's time for the truth to come out. We cannot let this continue. As the news began to circulate, Jamal felt a surge of exhilaration. The crowd erupted into applause, chanting his name, and the energy in the room shifted dramatically. Cameras flashed, and social media buzzed with the revelation. In that moment, Jamal realized he had not only won an award, but had also ignited a movement. The label would face scrutiny, and he would stand at the forefront, a symbol of change and resilience. Lena's hand found his again, and he turned to her, a smile breaking across his face. "I can't believe this is happening," he said, feeling the weight of his struggles lift, replaced by a sense of purpose. "Neither can I, but you did this, Jamal. You inspired everyone," she replied, her eyes shining with pride. As the night continued, Jamal felt a new energy coursing through him. He had turned the tide against injustice, and his music would now resonate even louder, a beacon of hope for those who dared to dream.